Crocodile Dundee 2 was released in 1988 and is the direct sequel to the infamous 1986 Crocodile Dundee, starring Paul Hogan. We've got Paul Hogan and Linda Kozlowski back, both characters, playing both characters again. They are now obviously married, or at least dating for a while, and living together. And is this as good as the first one? No. Does this mean that this movie sucks completely? Absolutely not. There's some good things to it. Still a fun film. This one goes more popcorn movie, I think, I would say. And there is a reverse plot where the first one began in Australia for the first half, and then the second half was in New York. This one begins in New York for the first half, and then goes to Australia in the second half. I think the biggest thing about this one that I didn't enjoy that much is the light spoilers on this one. There's a bit of a drug lord kingpin plot that plays out, and there's like kidnappings, and the lead is held hostage, and then Paul Hogan has to save the day, kind of thing. Although it was an alright change, I just don't see a whole criminal plot line necessary for a film like this. I wanted to see a lot more gags and a lot more Paul Hogan in a new territory, kind of like the first one was. You could definitely change a lot, but I didn't see the whole like Colombian drug pin thing too entertaining, at least for me anyway. But yeah, there is lots of positives to be had, especially at the beginning. We start off where Paul Hogan is fishing in the New York River, and because he can't get any bait and no fish are biting, he just throws a dynamite into the water and blows it up so the fish all come, floating to the surface. And then the police come, obviously. There's a helicopter and there's a police boat that come along. But at this point, everybody knows Paul Hogan, and the police are just kind of like, they shrug it off. They're like, whatever, just go home. So I found that was pretty funny. Being that like Paul Hogan basically made New York his new home kind of thing. There is this other gangster character introduced, and there's actually a really funny plot point with him. He's all like sketchy, and he's like, yo, I can offer you a job, but you got to keep it on the down low. And all this guy does is sell pencils and erasers, but because he has a gangster sounding name and like a mafia sounding name, he figures that he has to keep everything on the down low because people are just going to suspect that he's a criminal. But he'll say like slang things like to Paul Hogan. He's like, you dig? And Paul Hogan's like, does the job require that? Is that digging? Because he doesn't get what the hell he's saying. So there's a lot of that too. There's a situation at a office building involving a jumper like wanting to jump out the window or the roof or the ledge, whatever you want to call it. And as dark as that theme is, it's funny the way Paul Hogan handles it, because he kind of plays reverse psychology on this guy. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But I did find that funny. And then probably the funniest scene, can you tell I found the funniest parts of the first half of the film in New York? There's a subway like hold up situation where Paul Hogan is being held up by this guy hiding a gun in his jacket, and he's basically telling Paul Hogan to not say anything because there's this bunch of tourists from Asia coming along, and they have all their cameras and all that. And then there's a shootout that goes down, and all the tourists are kind of hiding behind the subway pillars and stuff like that. And one of the Asian guys and Paul Hogan, or Mick, they tackle the guy. They help each other tackle the guy, and Paul Hogan puts a garbage can in front of him, and then the Asian guy does like a bunch of kung fu moves. And he's talking to his buddy in Chinese, or I believe it's Chinese, I'm just guessing. He thinks that Mick, Crocodile Dundee, is Clint Eastwood. And he's like, you know who that was? That's Clint Eastwood. And he's like, yeah, Clint Eastwood's so tall. And yeah, I laughed at that part. That was really, really good. And as for the second half, then like when it goes to Australia, because first of all, the middle of the film ends where you would swear that the film's over, because like Paul Hogan saves, or I keep calling him Paul Hogan, Mick saves his wife, they go to this mansion, they defeat the bad guys, and this is literally the middle of the film. So I'm like, how is this ending here? What's gonna happen after this? And then the reason they go to Australia is because they want to like not be found, kind of thing. Lo and behold, they're found anyway. And the second half of the film plays as like the criminal Colombian drug kingpins are after these two in Australia now. They play off Linda's character, forget her name, Sue, I think. Sue, yes. As this badass, like she spent so much time with Mick that now she like knows how to defend herself a lot more than she did in the first film. So they're really fighting off this these kingpins pretty much in Australia and like the jungle and stuff like that. And it's okay. It's kind of fun, but like I said, that whole plot point just didn't work 100% for me. I just found it a little bit tedious, but that doesn't take away like it's an okay follow up. The first film is way better in my opinion. But as for like a popcorn flick, I wouldn't say this one is like too bad. I just would skip it and go for the first instead. And as for Crocodile Dundee in LA, I'll have to wait till I find that one somewhere, and then I can review that one and complete the trilogy. So I don't have much else to say about this one, other than if you've watched the first, you may as well just check it out. And but don't expect, you know, the greatness from the first one, in my own personal opinion. Who knows? Maybe you'll like it better. Different strokes for different folks, I guess. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I'll be back with lots more this month, and there's already lots more. There's already lots on the channel, so check them out. And until next time, take care and cheers.